You, YouTube land, buy the shirt. Link, description, box. I'm gonna go die of pneumonia now. Not even kidding.
Welcome back to Fuzzy Walrus Industries. I'm Walcom, and today it's time for Tag Back, the show where every week we take a look at a blaster from the past and see what it can offer us today in the present. You know, except for last week, which surprisingly nobody complained about. Maybe I can get away with this more often than I think. And this time, a little bit of a different episode, because the subject matter itself, while interesting, is, it's a single-shot pistol. So really, there's not a whole lot I can talk about. But this is kind of a PSA. It may be one of the more important episodes of Tag Back you ever see, because nobody talks about this blaster, and they're apparently very rare. I say that because one of these was for sale at the last war I went to. The Curator had one, because of course the Curator has absolutely everything, and he wanted $30 for it, which I thought was a bit absurd. Normally the Curator has his prices pretty much on point, but $30 for a single-shot pistol that isn't anything remarkably stupid good had me a little suspect, and yet Jim immediately jumped and bought the thing before I could even make a decision of if I wanted to blow the $30, which I only have thanks to awesome people like, of course, the one and only Vulcan and the loyal Mac Doyle, who continuously shove copious amounts of donations and super chats in my live stream. Thank you very much, you two. Seriously, I have spent an obscene amount of money at that last war buying stuff for the channel. You're gonna see some really interesting things. But unfortunately, I had to borrow this blaster, and I have to give it back! I want one, but it's a bit too much money for me to rationalize spending on a thing like this. And what is that thing? You might be wondering. It's this. This is the Nerf Atom Blaster. Not the line Atom Blaster. This is known as the Nerf Atom Blaster. You would never know because it doesn't say Atom Blaster anywhere on this thing. And it looks like one of those things from Half-Life. You know the one.
Doors, computer. No. Man, come on. That thing teleported out of friggin' nowhere. Why? I don't even know what this is. Maybe I was hasty shooting it. This could be an ambassador. Okay, if I see another one, I'll listen to what it has to say. Speak of the devil. It's the same story every time!
And it's just a single shot ball pistol. That's all. It shoots a single ballistic ball, which it came with a single ballistic ball. And I would think something that was $5, looks like this, and came with a ball, would have sold 1 million of them. We'd see as many as jolts. And yet, they're incredibly rare. In fact, I looked on eBay, and I couldn't find a single one. And it's in kind of a different color scheme. You would never think to look for this kind of color when you're walking through the aisles at a Goodwill or something like that. And if you saw one of these, you'd probably pass it up because it's a single shot ball shooter. You'd probably be like, screw it. And yet I know a man who just paid an obscene amount of money for one. So, where does that leave us? This is a thing. It's cool, it's really comfortable. It's not even really that old. It's like this old, 2005 is not that long ago. I can find buzzsaws and reactors for days, but I can't find these things? This thing's awesome. And I'm gonna actually need some kind of ammo to put in here because you have no idea how it actually functions right now. And it does work in a surprisingly interesting way, and I'm just kind of filling time because really it's a single shot pistol. There's not a whole lot I can do. That being said, another interesting thing is that the Koosh balls are made by Nerf, or Hasbro in this case, from the makers of Nerf. And these are actually the same diameter as the old ballistic balls. I say that because there's 2 different sizes of balls that you can get. And, well, this takes a specific size, the slightly larger size, because it has 2 locks right in the front right there that will prevent you from firing unless they are pressed in. And if your ball is too small, it will not actually work. So I'm going to open this thing of Koosh Galaxy ball things and see if they actually work with this blaster, because I don't really have a surplus of balls. Hopefully, it's the right size. And that is loading. Oh yeah, the perfect size. And that's loading of the Nerf Atom Blaster. And then, of course, you point it at something and you pull the trigger. And I've honestly never fired this thing with, like, a brand new ball in it. Oh, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It's one of the worst blasters ever. But if for some reason your war had some kind of crazy rule using, like, the balls, or there's, like, an HVZ game with a special that has some kind of insane weakness to Nerf ballistic balls, this might have a purpose. It is tiny, while it is wide, has to be wide enough for a ball, and has very comfortable grip. It's not very big. Be awkward to holster, but you could figure something out. There's no attachment points or anything on it. You can't, like, sling it or any. You'd have to figure something out, put it in a dump pouch or something, but it's the Atom Blaster. And I never would have thought this thing was worth anything. Wanted one of these for a while, because I know I saw Barrett with 2 of them. Apparently he has one, he was borrowing one from the Curator, who later sold it. And I kind of regret that, because having 2 of these things, I would totally run that in a war, not to steal Brett's tagline there. And this, oh, I'm just gonna fire it again. Homely, your koosh balls have become exceedingly important to me. You just shut in there. It's actually really difficult. I'm trying to imagine a child doing that. It's a little more stressful than you can imagine. And yeah, it's awful, as you would expect from something. It's not quite as bad as, say, the atomizer, as I believe it's called, the slingshot thing. Those are awful. This is slightly less awful. It's actually functional, I would say. And that begs the question, did you know what this thing was worth? Because I sure as heck didn't. And now that I know what it's worth, I'll know I'll probably never find one. But if I do, I would be extremely happy. So make sure you pay attention when you're looking for blasters. If you see one of these, if you see it in like a bundle or something like that, I highly doubt that the person who has this knows what it's worth. And I would say it could be worth a lot. It all depends on what people will pay for them, but apparently people will pay quite a bit of money for them. So that's the thing. It's not a red long shot. It's not a wide out long strike. It's not anything crazy. It's just a ball shooter. It may be the most expensive Jolt, and I love it. Let me know what you think about the Nerf Atom Blaster down in the comments section below. Do you have one? Do you know of somebody with one? Because I'm really curious. I'm sure there's a lot of people like, oh yeah, I have 14 of those, I've never used them, or, oh yeah, I threw them away. I'm so sorry, because that's exactly something I would have done. I've probably passed up on multiples of these. And look at the ball block. I don't even have balls to use it with. Who cares? Consider this your official public service announcement. I'm Walcom. Thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.